Thank you very much, DJ Talent. Indeed, you're a talent. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Please, may I crave your indulgence, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to make very distinguished recognition of some distinguished members. Mr. Sheku Akande, a big hand for him. A big hand, please. Thank you very much. Appreciate you for being on time. Also for recognition, ladies and gentlemen, the president of AOPN, Dr. Obiora Amado, a big hand for him. Please keep clapping. Thank you very much.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Hello, good morning. How are you this morning? It's good to see your faces again. You know when last we saw it? A couple of years back, Expo happened last in 2019. And here we are, after like 3 years. I'm not used to reading speeches, but for some reasons, I will today. We have had incidents where we have been wrongly reported, misquoted in the press. So please, the pressmen, when I finish, pick up a copy from the organizers so that we will be well represented. The members of the board, distinguished speakers and panelists, chief executives of outsourcing companies, our sponsors, we really appreciate you guys because without you, we won't be here. Members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, let me start by wishing everyone here a blessed and prosperous second half of the year. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the first Expo program post-pandemic. It's a thing of joy to gather again as we normally do annually. A lot has happened since our last Expo and a lot of lessons have been learned. These lessons inform the theme of today's event, which is top post-pandemic outsourcing trends for businesses, opportunities, and threats. The theme may seem quite a mouthful, but considering our experiences in the past 2 years, we are allowed to be verbose when the occasion warrants it. I'd like to, at this point, congratulate the Expo Organizing Committee headed by Ade Awonaike, who is unavoidably absent here today. So all the Expo members, they are busy. I will have asked them to stand up, but thank you so much for putting this together. The COVID-19 pandemic has created arguably the greatest inflection point in our lives, with the whole world attempting to provide solutions exacerbated by the pandemic. Since 2020, we all have been in a flux trying to find our rhythm as the world looks to recover from the health and the economic challenges posed by COVID-19. I listened to the masterclass, by the way. It was quite interesting. COVID-19 impacted every industry, causing businesses to revise budgets, cancel contracts, and tweak their operation to manage the effects of the pandemic. With their existence being challenged, companies were, and some are still, striving to ensure they remain financially stable by focusing on revenue generation and outsourcing non-core functions. It has also changed priorities and created a new reality in its wake. But it hasn't altered the need to deploy smart outsourcing strategies as organizations instituted new ways of working and operating, new ways of working and operating. The silver lining to these disruptions, though, is the opportunities created from the adoption different and novel approaches by businesses to leapfrog for technology innovation. In Nigeria, companies are now becoming more resilient and better positioned to face the post-pandemic business landscape. Businesses, including SMEs, are now leveraging services. In response to the fallout of COVID-19, AOPN organized various webinars to upskill our members and provided up-to-date information regarding the industry trends around the world. Now, as we begin the shift from surviving to thriving, AOPN is determined to pursue the following projects and bring them to fruition to ensure value addition for all members. The first one is continuing to engage the government so that we can have a legal framework for outsourcing in Nigeria. This is a very, very big challenge. We have been having discussions with NIDA. NIDA have reviewed the policy. Policy was way back 2007. Right now, you're also aware that there was a bill in National Assembly to scrap outsourcing from Nigeria. But I think we succeeded in killing that. Now we want a law. AOPN and Nubife wanted to go to Ghana before COVID struck to study what they have done with SLAs. Because in Ghana, no principal can just get up and change the terms of an SLA on a basis of take it or leave it, which is what we have here. So SLAs, which is supposed to be a joint thing, in Nigeria, he who pays the piper, according to them, dictates the tune, which is not what it ought to be. So the whole idea was to go there, study how did they get to where they were, and then see if it can work here. So the whole idea was to go there, study how did they get to where they were, and then see if it can work here. AOPN and NIDA started a discussion last year to train about 33,000 Nigerians, young Nigerians, on employability. It was supposed to be an online program. We went quite far, but it hasn't materialized. You know how fast government can be. The other thing is to continue to engage with government on how to improve the integrity quotient of this country internationally. Because if you are not known as a trusted destination for services, outsourcing, international outsourcing cannot come. If your name, in fact, if your passport gets you into trouble, then such jobs may never come. So government needs to do something about that. We want to continue to spearhead the forming of the African Outsourcing Association, which we had started. We have identified sponsors like World Bank and the rest of them. The whole idea is that so that together we can properly leverage African Continental Free Trade Area. So that is it. Collaborations are ongoing with Hookapan and with NECA and other organizations who have a common interest with us. Now, AOPN will take up the responsibility for research. I was reading recently and I saw people were quoting what they call the value of outsourcing in Nigeria. I don't know where the figure came from. I don't know how correct it is, but I know that we're in a position to conduct a research and put together a reliable figure that people can use for decision making, both in their organization and government can also use for policies. While trying to conclude, the Industry 4.0 and the 4IR has come with its own opportunities and threats. Some school of thought believe that the advances in technology gathered into this package called Industry 4.0 will revamp and revitalize manufacturing and potentially bring outsourcing to an end. That's what some people think, but of course, I do not agree with them. So, increased remote working efforts, increased utilization of cloud computing services, increased focus on cyber security, the rise of near-sourcing destinations, and the use of social media for businesses are some of the strategies that will keep us alive at this point in time. I believe that outsourcing is still here for decades to come, and we therefore need to arm ourselves with the top post-pandemic outsourcing trends for business opportunities and threats. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2022 Expo. Enjoy every moment of it. Let us live here with numerous ideas and collaborations, and let us continue to spread the gospel of outsourcing. Thank you very much.
I will stop that. That clap offering was for the song. I will always love you. If you had that before, can you please clap your hands together? If you had that before and somewhere along the line, the thing turned K-leg, can you shout hallelujah? Okay, this. I will always love you. Very interesting indeed. There are songs and there are songs, I tell you. These days, what the Sorosoki generation would listen to is what? Why are you pretending? Is Za Buga? Can you Buga? DJ, I dare them. No can Buga here. These are gentlemen, but I'm told that gentlemen are not to be gentle when they pull their coats. No one can Buga here. DJ is even afraid to play it. Or you don't have it. Okay, play Zazu. They can Zazu there. They will Zazu. Don't sleep. Someone said in Nigeria, all the entertainment is moving forward. Wake up. If you are still sitting down, you are sitting on a long thing. Oh yeah, Tera. Tell your neighbor to Tera. Okay. Thank you, Mama.
Don't walk, you don't try. You're supposed to be kill him, person with a man, boy. When I land so free on the sofa. So come here, let me see you. Let me see you. Let me see you. Let me go. Let me see you. Let me see you. Let me go. Let me see you. Let me see
All right. No. If you take me there, you're going to put me in trouble. I love that Barnabas. He's Daniel. Wonderful guy. Very interesting. Someone said, that in Nigeria, all the entertainment industry is moving forward. Is that true? How can that be true? In fact, I almost accepted that as a fact until probably, getting here, I found out that that was a big lie. After I enjoyed that masterclass, hey, Nigeria is moving forward. The problem is that we are moved by what we see. All right, don't worry. Let me not get religious here. I'm not a pastor. But I see something. All these mountains shall become plain. If you believe, say amen. There are church goers here. Well, I don't know whether they pay their tithes. If you believe, say amen. So we're about to bring up stage. They are trying to dot the I's and cross the T's. That's something about machines, I tell you. We're talking outsourcing, you know, almost everything. I remember the days of our mothers and fathers. If you want to marry a girl, you have to send somebody to go and investigate and try to interrogate what kind of family she is from, who is she really, what kind of brothers, siblings does she have, what's the family history. You know, they call them alarm, you know. That's some sort of outsourcing, if you ask me. I mean, the person will go there, do all the needful, gather the facts together, do everything for you. What you need to do next as family is to just go there and plug your flowers. Sort of, you know, when I got here this morning, you know, I found out, you know, a lot of outsourcing going on also here. Imagine we all come here at 10 a.m. and we start sweeping, start doing balloons, start putting the place together. Hey, that'll be some work. But somebody has to fix all of those. Somebody is in charge of these microphones. Somebody is in charge of sounds, making sure everything goes here and okay. We've been bad outsourcing, I tell you. Even government, the narrative has changed where I come from. By the way, my name is Adebisi Adewusi. I work with Radio Lagos 107.5 FM and Eco 89.7 FM. My name is Debisi Gonga on 89.7 FM. Why don't you clap for me now? Thank you. I run the morning show, the breakfast show from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Mondays through Fridays. Why don't you clap again now? You know? You said? Yeah. Okay, I got a fan here too. Thank you very much. You know, it's always, I deliberately do some of these things sometimes. I start a program, I refuse to say my name until the program is on the right footing. It's always deliberate from my end. So that if there's one error, I'll not just say my name, I'll just carry my book and follow the other side. But that has not happened and it will not happen, you know. I'm sure they're ready for us now. Pamela, are we ready? They're ready. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate that. I had to hold that down so that they can dot the I's and cross the T's. But then the keynote speaker is very much in the building. Hey, is someone you know very well by the back of your palms. Diego attended the University of Germany for SAP TEP 10 certification, and he's SAP TERP 10 certified. He's also a full member of the British Computer Society. His background in computer science from Yaba College of Technology, where he graduated with the best result in his department. He has been awarded a certificate of specialization in strategy from Harvard Business School, having completed strategy-related certificate programs such as disruptive strategy, sustainable business strategy, and strategy execution. Ladies and gentlemen, the keynote speaker, Mr. Segun Akande, with a big resounding round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Bring him up, bring him up. He's made for this. Keep clapping because he's made for this. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning, sirs. Good morning, ma. Yeah. Special thanks to the organizer for this opportunity. Like you said, my name is Segun Akande, and I'm the lead consultant from Expo Solutions Limited. Today we'll be talking about outsourcing and the trends in Nigeria and globally. So one of the main things we need to know about outsourcing, as we all know that outsourcing is typically when you extend or you seek the services of third parties for some of your function. And today, outsourcing has gone from protecting value to creating value. I would like the technical team to show the slide. Can you move the slide? Where is do we have the, so we'll be, like I said, we'll be talking about the trends. You can move it. So we'll be talking about the trend briefly. Like we said, it is the practices of engaging third party. And most of the time we may want to ask ourselves as an organization, what we need to outsource? Because it's supposed to be one of the strategies to see how you can increase revenue. It's supposed to be one of the strategies to how you can cut costs. It's supposed to be one of the strategies to how you can improve your organization. And so one of the articles in Harvard said, outsourcing has gone from being value protecting mayor to become a value creating mayor. So it is one of the things that you can use to create value. So, and it is no longer the ownership of capability. It is simply a situation whereby company's ability to control capability. So, and that made me to remember a story of a convenience store in the US where they need to reduce their cost. And as a result of that, it has been a vertically integrated organization before. And because they need to reduce their costs, they begin to look at what are the things that they need to outsource. And in the process of looking at what they need to outsource, they come up with what they call anything we can get any third party to do better, we outsource it. And instead of just be the one doing all this, so they decide to outsource everything until even the some of their core function, a situation whereby the milk that they sell, they have cows that produce those milk. They have to outsource all this to the extent that they outsource almost everything that they have within their organization, all the function, from HR, from to IT, and some other things, like I said. So let's move to the next slide. So, and as a result, they are able to live with what I call a kind of predictive insight to take decision, whereby the only thing they need to do is to just take a decision as to how many quantity they need to order to put in their convenience store, as to where and how to shelve all these items. So that's the only thing they are left with. And with that, they are able to increase their revenue and they are able to increase their profit. So we'll be going straight to some of the trends of outsourcing in Nigeria, even and globally, because the truth about it is outsourcing has always been part of every economy. Outsourcing has always been part of every organization. One way or the other, you have to outsource some things, but it is now going beyond what some people call a non-core function, that you should be outsourcing a non-core function. Now, I think we are having a situation whereby some organizations globally, they are even outsourcing what we may refer to as the core function. And a situation whereby you have some IT organization outsourcing almost everything, including the manufacturing of some of the hardware that they are known for. Let's move to the next slide, including, and they are now called virtual, some of them are now called virtual manufacturing. In today's outsourcing landscape, we now have what we call capability sorting. So they are able to come up with another discipline called capability sourcing in such a way that they source some of their capability from external body, from external organization, in order to see how they can to increase their revenue. So some of these outsourcing trends are, we have what we call cloud computing, we have information and data security, intelligent automation. You know, we have a situation whereby we have few organization, manufacturing and the likes, the banks, they are now having few strategic partners in such a way that they will be able to encourage specialization among their partner. They will be able to encourage technology evolution among their partner. And we have increased offshoring. You know, Nigeria as a country has not started enjoying offshoring as it were. Just like the president was saying the other time, he mentioned the fact that there is no framework in place. Maybe because there is no framework in place, we've not been able to enjoy the like of India, the like of China. They've been able to enjoy increased offshoring. Even Ukraine, not up until recently, when they have Russia attack against them. So we have increased demand for ML and AI. With the rise in virtual work, like Mr. Folusho mentioned the other time, there is rise in virtual work in the global space now, and agility is critical for service provider. IoT is also becoming popular. So let's move to the next slide. And when we talk about cloud computing, many organizations now see cloud computing as a primary enabler, just like the way technology is supposed to be. Technology is supposed to be something that enables us to transform our businesses. They are not the one that can even give us the transformation. They are supposed to transform our businesses. It's the strategy you employ that will determine how you're going to transform your businesses. Is it a new market disruptive strategy that you are employing, or a low market disruptive strategy that you are employing? Those are the things that will determine how your business is going to be transformed. Basically, what you need to know, what you need to do as an organization is to see technology as an enabler and employ what form of strategy that you have decided to employ to see how to transform your businesses. Enterprise begin to demand more value from cloud services provider. So today, you know, everybody is using one form of cloud solution or the other. Even as we're in this room, I can assure you that some are one way or the other, we're using some form of cloud services. So cloud services is a form of outsourcing on its own. So if you look at cloud services as a solution, as a service, you will know that it has helped many organizations to be able to launch their products as fast as possible and help them to be able to be agile enough in order to have a competitive edge against their competitor. So performance and resilience is one of the main things that is making people to move in this direction. Then data security is still a concern when you talk about cloud computing, and the service provider, they are working on this, the global service provider, they are working on it to ensure that this is improved. So let's move to the next slide. And also we talk about information and data security as the whole on its own. So third-party service provider represent a significant security risk. And these are the reason why some people may not want to outsource. They may not want to outsource a particular function to a third party because they are getting scared, they are worried about security. But the truth about it is there are ways that they can manage it, there are ways they can do it. One of the ways is to ensure that a security platform for awareness for employee is put in place. And we have so many these days. We have so many that is running as a service. We have automated awareness platform that is running as a service. Also, it is also essential to separate the IT and the security, because if you look at it today, almost every organization is now becoming a tech organization. And if you look at it, all organization is having one tech product or the other. And as a result, why they want to outsource this aspect, they begin to have some kind of issue some kind of concern as to the security of their data and the security of their information, because today we have all sorts of malware that can encrypt into encroach into their system and then steal their data. So it is also necessary that you understand and review as an organization the company that you are outsourcing to be sure of the kind of security standard they have in place, like the SOC 2, which have the trust service principle of security, availability, processing integrity, confidentiality, and privacy. So also, even though you have, depending on the size of your organization, even though you have a kind of cybersecurity vendor, is it still appropriate for you to have an in-house security team? Maybe it could be minimal, so that they could be able to do some check, like checking the logs and see how these logs is taking care of security of that particular resources. So let's move to the next slide, please. And the next one, as regard to the trends, is what we call intelligent automation. This is particularly common among all manufacturing organization, a robotic process automation, whereby it helps to undo all the repetitive work that is being done in that organization. They have a robotic process, and it is also an opportunity for a outsourcing professional or practitioner to see how they can tap into the opportunity, because some of these organizations, they can't do it on their own. So they can tap into this opportunity and see how they can then help. So that is making all organizations these days to see how they can review their contracts in such a way that it can accommodate this, so that the outsourcing professional or practitioner can then incorporate what we call this intelligent automation that will help them to remain competitive, that will help them to have some competitive edge over their competitors. So the major barrier is inability to capture immediate value. Even though it offers some opportunity for operating model transformation. You may not be able to capture immediate value when we talk about RPA, because some of the time it involves a lot of research before you can put some of these things in place in an organization. So let's move to the next slide. So like I said earlier, in the trends we have in the global space now is that people are now beginning to see how they can narrow down the number of partners to reduce the kind of relationship, to reduce the kind of management they have to do as regard their partners. So, which is helping some outsourced vendor to see how they can specialize in that particular industry, and then to see how they can evolve into so many other things and remain agile, so that it will help the clients to also enjoy this kind of industry specialization, and it will help them to increase their revenue. So, and they are able to share risk and reward in that kind of situation to see and how they can grow faster than their competitors. So let's move to the next slide, please. So, and increase offshoring. So we're now seeing many organizations globally, and this is the area we need to position ourselves as a country and as a continent in Africa. We need to position, I like the welcome address by the president. He was talking about how he can collaborate with some other African country to see how an association can be formed in such a way that a framework can be put in place. Because if you look at it today, India started a long time ago where they begin to encourage IT education in their institution, in their economy, in their country, in such a way that even from the primary school, you get to learn one or two things about IT. I think we have started, but we need to take it serious, because the truth about it is, if you look at what India has done, because if you look at it today, you see a lot of organization, a lot of globally recognized organization be managed by an Indian, and is as a result of the kind of education they've been able to get in the past, and which has positioned Indian is still the leading country when it comes to offshoring. Offshoring is just a situation whereby you have outsourcing being done into another country. We have near offshoring or near outsourcing in such a way that is being your function, some of the function either core or non-core is being outsourced to a nearby country for you to reduce cost. And sometimes it's not always to reduce cost, sometimes also to see how you can get quality. One of the reasons why you see many global businesses outsourcing to India is not only about cost alone, it's because they've known that there are so much IT education going on in that country, and they've been able to see that there are some quality work coming up from that country. In Nigeria today, we have many software being developed in India that are being used by some of our banks. And I used to work in a bank, and as at that time, I was able to know not less than 14 to 15 banks using a particular core banking software coming from India. And that software is called Finacle. Maybe because of merger and acquisition now, the number of banks using Finacle might have reduced. So it has helped Indians to be able to grow their economy through offshoring. So it's an area we need to look at, both as a public organization or as a private organization, to see how we can position ourselves. So one of the major challenges we have in this space is language and cultural barrier. So, and a lot of things are being done to see how this can be minimized. And that has also helped some technology experts to look at how they can come up with some things that will be able to translate natural language and be able to get some cultural stuff put into the robotic in a situation whereby this can easily be understood by other human beings. Then time zone differences. You know, there are time zone differences when you outsource to a company in a country whereby the time zone is totally different. You might have a challenge on how to relate with them from time to time, and this might delay the delivery time of a project. Let's move to the next slide. So now also another trend we've seen in the outsourcing is what I call increased demand for machine learning and artificial intelligence. Like I said, technology has always been an enabler. So machine learning and artificial intelligence is also here to enable business forecasting and predictive insight. So with business forecasting and predictive insights, organization is able to take decision on how the new direction they need to take, on how they can improve their offering, on how they can improve their revenue. That's one of the way 7-Eleven, a convenience store in US, that's one of the way they are able to increase their revenue by outsourcing almost everything, including their core function, and see how they can just focus on the business forecasting and the predictive insight. So it requires subject knowledge and extensive experience for its complex development. You know, before some of these things can be put together, it requires a lot of subject knowledge and extensive experience. So, and that's the reason why we see failure of projects in that space. And also, we have data security as a concern. So when we talk about cybersecurity in this era of outsourcing, is something that is very important. And we have a lot of vendor now. We have a lot of vendor. We have the like of MSSP, that's a managed security service provider, being able to extend their cybersecurity to people, to organizations, and see how they can be able to improve the cybersecurity profile of that organization. And IoT is also becoming popular. And IoT is becoming popular. There has been a projection that some people are saying 75 billion connected devices by 2030. What is an IoT? This will particularly be very useful in manufacturing organization, whereby there will be devices, there will be equipments communicating to each other to see how they can be able to take decisions fast, to see how they can be able to move things fast to the next level, to be able to see how they can increase their delivery time. It's also a new avenue for innovation in manufacturing and other industry, because it helped them to now innovate to see how they can, since they've been able to gain speed in some of the things that they do manually before. So security problem is being resolved with various security protocol. Like I said, everything technology globally is always having some sort of security concern on the other. So, and that's the reason why cybersecurity has been a very serious thing in globally. So we've seen, and also there are little experts in that area, and that's the reason why some of the vendors have come up with all these cloud services for cybersecurity and the SSP. The R&D is now being outsourced by performing organizations for their IT. So this is the trend. You see, because some of the manufacturing organizations globally, they've seen that this IoT is something that they need to tap to. So they started outsourcing the research and development of this IoT project to some vendor, to some provider, to see how they can be able to tap into it to increase their performance, to increase their revenue, and so on. So, and on the last note, one of the things we need to do as a country or as a people that come together on this kind of platform is to see how we can position ourselves for offshoring. And like the president of AOPN said there is no framework at the moment, there is no regulation. So it would be nice if we are able to push and get some kind of framework, some kind of policy to position ourselves for offshore, so that we can be able to increase the GDP of the economy, so that we can be able to get some good share of offshoring, like the India, the China, because you know that almost every big manufacturing in globally, all over the world, now have one factory or the other in China. So thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much. You can continue to encourage him till he sits down. Very, very interesting indeed. So we need to find our place in the scheme of things going forward. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you look behind me, you see some empty seats. We're going to be bringing up the panelists, but to do that would be a board member of AOPN. She's Ife Osineme. She's also the executive director of Vic Lawrence and Associates Limited, a famous human resource and outsourcing company in Nigeria. You do well by clapping for Ife Osineme. She'll bring up the panelists, introduce them one after the other. They should be. And of course, we'll put the icing on the cake thereafter. Keep clapping, why not? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, and thank you very much for being here. We appreciate that a lot of you came out quite early this morning. I want to believe that the sessions have been quite illuminating for us thus far. From those who sat in at the masterclass, the welcome address by our president that opened our eyes to some of the work that we still need to do as AOPN, and what we've just learned from our keynote speaker. We've seen that the world is changing. In fact, the world has changed on us, and we have to brace up to the fact that we have to learn the key trends that will take us into the future as we build our businesses. And so it is my pleasure to introduce some of our well-known speakers, some faces that you already know, some faces that will be new to some of us. And please, if you indulge me, sir, I would invite you to join us again in the panel discussion, yes. Because there are some insights that you shared, and I think that if you do have some time to spend with us, it'll be good to hear from you again. So please give him a round of applause as he comes up. Thank you very much, sir. So I'll start by welcoming my friend, my bon, as we say here, Mr. Olusoji Oyaoye. I'll read out his bio while he comes up. Olusoji Oyaoye is a graduate of economics who also holds a postgraduate diploma and a master's degree in business management. His career spans 35 years, with 19 spent in banking and most recent 16 years as a social entrepreneur, an MD CEO of Resource Intermediaries Limited, which he co-founded in 2006. Olusoji is also an associate certified outsourcing professional, ACOP. There are very few of them. And if I am correct, you're about the only one in Africa, am I right, sir? He's a fellow of the Association of Outsourcing Professionals of Nigeria. He's a member of the Institute of Directors of Nigeria and a non-executive director in 2 other companies. He's also the chairman of a microfinance bank. Outside of professional pursuits, he is a conference speaker, a certified member of the Maxwell Leadership Team, and a certified Maxwell DISC behavioral analysis specialist. He has authored 7 books on relationships, entrepreneurship, personal branding, finding one's purpose in life, and leadership. He is happily married to Olabisi, and they have 2 wonderful children who are millennials. Welcome, sir. A round of applause, please. I'd also like to invite Dr. Peter Akindeju, my friend. Dr. Peter Akindeju is the Managing Director, CEO of ICS Outsourcing. He has 2 decades of experience, 15 years of which was in top management positions. He has deployed the elements of performance enterprise with deep analytical and problem-solving skills in various functions across learning and development, recruitment, operations, business development, corporate strategy, business advisory, and governance. He's created short-term and long-term strategic goals for composite value creation to his clients. Peter is a full member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management. He's a member of the Institute of Directors, and he's a director certified by the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria. Peter is a fellow of the Institute of Credit Administration and a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Commerce. He's also a fellow of the Association of Outsourcing Professionals in Nigeria and sits on the Regional Advisory Board of the International Association of Outsourcing Professionals, IAOP. Dr. Peter holds a master's degree in business administration from the Business School, Netherlands, and was recently awarded a PhD honoris causa in human capital development. He has specialties in human resource outsourcing and business process outsourcing. He has executive training on corporate strategy and finance from the European Management Development Institute, Brussels. He's a certified outsourcing professional, COP Masterclass, IAOP Canada, and an alumnus of the Lagos Business School and IESE Business School, Spain. Peter is also a certified DDC 806 instructor for the National Safety Council of the United States of America. Welcome, Peter. Is Nireti here? I would like to call Mrs. Nireti Adebayo up, please. Nireti Adebayo is the founding CEO of White Cleon Limited, a human resource outsourcing and consulting firm. Under her leadership, unique business sense and ethics, her team has grown into a formidable one, serving various sectors. Nireti is result-oriented. She's a passionate HR professional with over 22 years cognate experience, spanning several corporate organizations in different capacities. Nireti has an MSc degree in administration from the Lincoln University, Pennsylvania, USA, and a higher diploma in accountancy. She's a two-time alumnus of the Lagos Business School and the IESC Business School, Barcelona, where she has earned a diploma in management. She's a past participant of the Stanford Graduate School of Business Seed Transformation Program. And Nireti has developed an ever-growing transformational mindset and brings this growth mindset to bear on the Ghana branch of White Cleon Limited. She's a member, Chartered Institute of Personnel Management. She's a fellow of the Association of Outsourcing Professionals of Nigeria. She's a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Management Consultants. She's a member of the Institute of Directors and the Society of Human Resource Management USA and IAOP USA. She was recently appointed to the board of the AIFA Reading Society, and she's been working on the boards of several other boards as a board of trustee of the Stanford Seed Network. And she brings prosperity to Africa by being on the board of Microfinance Bank as well. She's also a co-founding member of the RTA, which is an angel investment firm. She's a facilitator at the Enterprise Development Center of the Lagos Business School, an expert in residence program, and a three-time board advisory member of the EDC. She recently completed a diploma in design thinking from MIT. Nireti is married to Nii, and they are blessed with children. Welcome, Nireti. Thank you very much for obliging me. So, okay. So welcome to our amazing panel. Just reading their bio, you can see that there's a wealth of knowledge here, and we'll do best to try as much as possible to get as much information as we can. The theme today is top post-pandemic outsourcing trends for businesses, the opportunities and threats. I'd like us to start out by just taking 5 minutes each to speak to the topic, to the theme today, and the top of mind takeaways that you want us to go with before we go into more of a Q&A style of discussion. So I'll start with my friend, Nireti.
Thank you, Ife. Good morning, everybody, and thanks for having us. Let me first of all commend the guest speaker for doing a great job on the topic. Thank you so much. You actually broke it down. And so as I just got in and I heard what you were saying, I'm like, so what else are we going to talk about today? Because he spoke about almost everything. So thank you so much. Thank you. And to my brothers here, I hail you guys. Thank you so much. So we all know about the COVID and all its opportunities and all the issues that we had. Let me first of all commiserate with families who were lost during the COVID period, because I always say that COVID brought in a lot of opportunities, you know, irrespective of the threats, because our eyes are more open And then there's a lot of transformation going about everywhere in the society, in Nigeria and all over the world. So again, in a way, I'm a bit grateful to COVID, but I cannot say that fully because of all the lives that were lost during that period. So I commiserate with them, families and friends who were lost at the time. COVID actually came in at a time that we needed it in Nigeria because it was almost like we're always the last country to know what was happening in the world just before COVID. I imagine that many companies were not ready, especially in Nigeria, and not only in Nigeria, really, let me take that back, all over the world. Companies who were not in tune with technology, and did not go into the depth of using technology as an enablement were all affected. And in Nigeria, it was monumental because a lot of our businesses were just focused on profitability, just maximizing what we have, rather than, thinking about efficiency, about automation, and the likes of it. So what COVID was able to give us was for us to look inwards and look at our transformation plans and our trajectories in the various businesses that we are in. So again, I believe that IT took the largest of that because again, a lot of things in IT, spoke about Internet of Things a short while ago. And I say that even beyond that, it's us using IT as an enablement, as a way to make our businesses more efficient, as a way to be more accountable. Okay, that's what COVID did for us. So talking about the post-pandemic trends in COVID, I'm sure we'll talk a lot deeper on that, but I just have a few points on that. Of course, we've all streamlined our businesses. If we have not started to do that, then it might just be like we're just in business for nothing. So we're streamlining, we're transforming our businesses. We're more aware of digital literacy. We're more aware of our data, how we have to manage data to be able to reach various decisions, okay? So we're more aware about automation. If we have not started to automate our processes in our organizations, then it looks like we're just watching others do that. So again, there's a lot of investment going on, especially in technology. A lot of us are looking at data security. Some of us are just gisting about it. But the truth is that we have to begin to take our data really seriously. We're all talking about cybersecurity, vulnerability assessment, pen testing, and the rest of it. So a lot is going on, and automating all our processes, use paperless societies and the rest of it. So again, we have a lot going on, post-pandemic, and I'm sure we'll be able to talk more about that. And one of the things that I just realized, and I feel that some of us can adopt here, is actually future-proof contracts. That's not so common. Future-proof contracts, where we have to talk to our principals on future-proof contracts and the rest of it. I will explain that further. That's really very important and an area where we have to talk about. And also force majeure. Before the pandemic, nobody talked about force majeure. You just see on your SLA, business continuity, that we don't ever look at. Force majeure, we don't ever look at. All those legalities now are things that we have to begin to look at. And how are we designing our processes? Are we thinking seriously? Are we breaking down our processes? How much do we do reviews, in our various organizations? So again, the pandemic has brought a lot of opportunities for us, and I'm hoping that we can just take advantage of that. Thank you.
Okay, it's in this order. I think I have waiting for my mic. Okay,
Mic.
I may as well wait for this. Thank you so much, Niriti. While I run an outsourcing company, I'll be speaking more as an entrepreneur, which is really, I'm more of that than an HR outsourcing individual. I mean, as it is, I don't even have one single certification in HR. I'm not CIPM, PIM, or anything like that. So I'll speak more as an entrepreneur. But I'll first like us to recognize that we need to seriously acknowledge and appreciate those businesses that are still around today, especially in this room, because we work in an environment where even government appears to be out to kill the businesses rather than to ease the purpose of doing business. We work in an environment where things that should be normal actually abnormal. So if you crave your indulgence, for us to just stand up for a round of applause for businesses that are still in operation as at this time in 2020, because we tend to take this for granted. A lot of businesses have died. A lot of individuals have killed themselves out of depression and all kinds of health issues. Thank you very much. I just need us to always recognize that, because when we speak of opportunities, the reality of opportunities is by the time the opportunity comes, it's usually too late to take advantage of it. Right. So part of what we need to focus on more going forward is to be prepared. As you know, some new businesses came out through all this crisis. And some businesses have done much better than businesses that have been around 20, 30 years before because they were prepared. So an investment in our capacity building is one great opportunity I need businesses to focus on at this time. This is not the time to cut costs on training and capacity building. It's actually the time to spend more, which is not what usually happens in businesses. I'll share with us as quickly as I can 5 opportunities and 6 threats, the way I see them from an entrepreneurial perspective again. Number 1 opportunity is borderlessness. It's an opportunity that many don't seem to be taking advantage of now more than before. That phrase, the world is a global space, has become more of a reality. This is a time to sell your products and services worldwide. And conversely, to also service companies globally. My business is a beneficiary of this increasingly, where there are quite a few foreign companies that we service, and we've never met face-to-face. Just met online, they approach us, and the deals are going on. We're managing country reps for them. And the beauty of that kind of opportunity that borderlessness brings is they pay you in dollars. You know what dollars is to a Naira earning. Yeah. So it may just be 2 staff that you are managing in Nigerian local reps for them and adding all their local laws and what. But what you earn from those 2 staff, in a lot of instances, more than what you earn from 500 other workers that you're managing for a Nigerian staff. That's why I usually emphasize, yes, offshoring, onshoring, there. My own business model is this country of 200 million people. I don't need the America or the London. There's enough business here, but you must be positioned to take advantage of borderlessness. Second opportunity that I see from where I sit is a lot more businesses now are unable to afford physical office spaces, or they are shrinking the use of their office spaces. So if you have an office space that you're paying heavily on, even if you own the business, this is a time to consider subletting some of your space, right? I mean, I run a co-work space business, and our business, it's like COVID benefited us, because a lot of businesses are moving away from their big offices that they can't sustain or pay diesel cost as it is, and move to co-work spaces and the likes. So try and consider what to do with your excess capacity, and don't be emotionally attached to some big office space in some location. Third opportunity that I see is this season of working offsite, flexible working hours and all of that is a huge opportunity to enhance engagement with your staffing. And once you engage, we are more engaging with your staff, motivation grows, and ultimately productivity grows. So if you're not yet doing it, I mean, I know an organization that goes to the office physically only twice in the month. And I couldn't understand it when I spoke with the MD. But rather than business suffering, but they are in the PR industry. So each business differs. We also have a work from home option. Ours is not to work in the office twice in a month. Ours is the converse. But most of the time, we also have those flexi works. And the benefits to staff, morale, they save on costs, they sleep longer as it is, and their finances are spread longer for working from home, but productivity grows. Now, some of these opportunities also has threats to them. And I'll talk about the threats. So some of what I'm speaking, I'll speak of the threats that comes with some of the opportunities. The fourth opportunity, the way I see it, is as extensively advocated by our keynote speaker, Segun Akonde. The increased use of technology actually requires you, because you'll be amazed at how many businesses are not yet in the technological space or even the social media space. But that's where your clients are. That's where the business is done these days. I do this random check usually when I'm called to speak to a company. And 9 out of 10, big companies doing relatively well, no social media presence. You are losing out big time. I mean, I live there. I mean, if you follow me, you'll know what I'm talking about. So it's an opportunity you shouldn't miss out. The fifth opportunity, before I quickly run through threats, is we're in the era of the Great Resignation. But rather, it's a threat. But the opportunity that presents is there's a surge in talent sourcing mandates. I mean, part of what we do is we provide staff for different organizations. So rather than, it's also the year or the season that we've had the most staff turnover. So people are leaving, but rather than look at the downside, the business is growing. Because as they are leaving, then people are engaging us to help them fill the vacant spaces, isn't it? So it's an opportunity. Perspectives matter. 6 and 9 is the same thing, depending on how you look at it. So it's important when we look at opportunities. That's why I like to break it down as an entrepreneur and not be too technical about these things. Threats quickly. The last opportunity is a trend. Talent retention and talent sourcing challenges. With many relocating offshore, not the Japa season. It's not even just moving to other companies. It's a threat. But one way to manage this effectively, I like to advocate, is again to be more engaging with your staff, right? And ensure you work again on your people management skills and organization. This more than before is a season. It's not about profits. It's about your people. And if you don't get that understanding, this season will cost you big time. Because when they leave, they actually leave as your ambassadors if you manage the process well. Second threat is declining quality of available talent in the market. It's a major trend. Because it's usually the good hands that leave first. And then you are stuck with people who have changed jobs 4 times in 3 years, who are asking you for a salary that they don't have the experience or quality to deliver. So my advice to most organizations is, which is our own business model, build your talent rather than buy. It's dangerous to be most people you'll get come very highly priced. But if you check years of experience, 3-4 years, but they've changed just 4-5 times, increase salary each time. So it's a major threat. So you bring people in at senior levels, even your staff have to be teaching the orga what to do. So it's a major threat we should be wary of. Third threat is technology. Right? A lot of organizations are looking for better, faster, and easier ways of doing things and have less need for unskilled labor. So you need to be brutal. Talent, staff that can't have demonstrated value. This is not the time to be emotional. The same way they just also resign, sometimes without notice, kick them out. It's key at this time. 4, increase in remote work means higher possibility of security breaches. Our keynote speaker has emphasized that. So you need to invest in some data protection. 5 threats that I see is lower margins. Because as clients increasingly just call you and say, we have cut the fee to this. And painfully in the environment, you just say, yes, sir. And you move on. Because in a lot of instances, somebody or 2 are waiting to take up that mandate. So it's a major threat. So it's a time to ensure the value you deliver is clearly unique, such that you can call their bluff at some times, which we do. Or you also cut some of the value you give to them relative to the price they are cutting. And 6th is heightened inspection pressures from government. As you know, they're increasingly looking for money locally and the likes. And so you have pressure, federal, local, states for tax, income, all of that. So put your books in order. Lastly, it's a bit of a joke. Sorry, I know I may have taken more than 5 minutes, but I hope this makes sense to us. There are personal traits, especially if you're an entrepreneur or a business owner. Increasingly in their pursuit for tax and shaking people up, I believe most of my other colleagues may be experiencing this. They come after you as an individual you know, and the irony of it is you set up businesses basically so that the business at some time begins to take care of your expenses and you can save on tax and all the likes. But almost every time I get summoned by the tax authorities that the tax I paid wasn't enough. And by the time we sit and discussing, they're telling me, okay, you're a director in 4 or 5 companies. The truth of the matter is maybe only one of those companies is paying any dividend. The others are on life support. They don't want to hear that. Oh, you've written 7 books. So sometimes I'm wary to share my profile in public. Those books, 90% are given out free at trainings. I'm making no money out of it. Oh, you drive this car, you drive car. The car belongs to the company. The company has paid you tax. You can't come to me again. So it's a major threat as it is. But honestly, it's a nice place to be, provided your records are in order and you just confront them. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. It's so nice to be back in here. I think this should be the first Expo after the COVID. Have we had any after then? I think this is the first physical one. It's so nice. Nice to see everyone, and congratulations to everyone. We are survivors, isn't it? Thanks to God for His grace. For me, I think the major thing is preparation. One thing COVID has taught all of us is that we need to anticipate what is to come, what is likely to come. The COVID caught almost everybody unawares. But the question is, yes, COVID is easing out now, but how prepared are we for the next big thing to happen? Okay, and then the rate of survival of COVID depends on how prepared we all were. For us in ICS outsourcing, for instance, even before COVID, we were like on an unending journey and drive to diversify branches into other things. And the reasons were obvious. The diminishing revenue from the clients that we all were earning from and all of that. So that gave us a reason to look into other opportunities. And then when COVID happened, because we have been thinking about that, it was a bit easy for us to quickly respond, to the demand of the time. I remember that at that time, we were able to quickly roll out some IT solutions, making it possible to work remotely, making it possible to continue education for kids. At least we had 2 major solutions that we put out there at that time. And from those efforts, we were able to build a new company that is existing today and is a partner even in this outsourcing Expo. And even before then, ICS had invested majorly, heavily in health, the LifeWorth HMO that some of you may be aware of. We are investment in there. Also a medical diagnostics company called Bioparts Medical Diagnostics. So what am I saying? It's always important that we prepare, we anticipate, we scan the environment and see what exactly is likely to be the big thing. Apart from COVID now, you are hearing of other epidemic possibilities, and we just need to keep preparing. Now, talking specifically about threats as a result of the pandemic, many of the points I have been mentioned, and thanks to our speaker again, Mr. Shegun. Like the other speakers have said, outsourcing providers are becoming, okay, so maybe because of the economic issues arising from pandemic, there's a trend that we have noticed, and I would like to bring that to the fore again, especially for outsourcing companies. There's this trend of the principals treating us as a kind of insurance policy or risk bearer. I don't know if you have noticed it, but I think it's something we need to begin to talk about. When things happen, yes, there's a clause in the SLA that says you indemnify. But what you find is that more often than not, even without a proper investigation, they are likely to want to push the liabilities to you. And the question is, did they take insurance, the proper insurances, that policies that they were supposed to take? Ordinarily, you are a provider of staff. If your staff is not at large, and the staff is even owning up to have committed the fraud, to a large extent, that staff should be held responsible for what he or she has committed. But what you find is that something happens, either there's a collusion internally or not, the client wants you to pay. And this runs to millions at times. If you are not careful, you use more than your profit, annual profit, to indemnify on fraud cases. That's something I think we need to start thinking about. It's a trend. We've also found situations where even the insurance companies have paid the clients, and they are still writing it in their books as a receivable from you. So we need to think about that. Another trend that I see from clients again is that some of them don't even understand the value of outsourcing. I've seen a situation, to my chagrin, I think about 2 months ago, a client asking, what then is the value of outsourcing if you cannot give me an overdraft? So it's becoming a trend these days for them to naturally expect that you must use your money to pay salaries, and then they will reimburse you at their own convenience. This practice is ordinarily alien to outsourcing as we know it, and I think we need to be careful about it. The economy is hard enough. Mr. Oyawe talked about tax people. For some of us, we have to grapple with the tax man from all the states of the country, local governments, and all of that. So I have a tax desk. It's a full-time job. So the economy is hard enough without accommodating this kind of excesses. You know, yes, we try to do our best, try to understand with them when the need arises, but for them to expect and demand that you must pay with your money, I mean, it's something else that we need to look at. Imagine you having 1,000 staff with a bank, and the bank is expecting you to pay several millions with your money. I'm not sure. Some of us might be deep pockets, but I'm not sure I'm in that bracket yet. All right. So I think we do need to watch that trend. I remember that a manufacturing company approached us about maybe 10 years ago with that kind of arrangement. And what we did ab initio was to put in the SLA that there's time value of money. If you want me to give you overdraft, no problem at all. Can you pay me a 2% on the money I'm lending you? If you have that kind of arrangement, all well and good, I think it's fine. But if you don't have that kind of arrangement in place and you are busy advancing your claims with salaries, I think you're actually doing yourself some injustice. Then the issue of remote working, I think, is here with us. Yes, Mr. Yahweh mentioned this. I won't like to talk too much about it again, but I think there's also an opportunity in that regard. Contingent workforce. Is it possible for us to begin to think about how we can be the ones actually making this workforce available, especially for offshoring, for those that are going out? If we continue and encourage the brain drain that is happening right now, we'll be left with the best of whatever is left. Let me put it that way. So I think we might also want to look into that space and see how can we play in that space. Is it possible we actually position ourselves to begin to outsource contingent workforce? So people need professionals for a number of hours. They need them for a number of days. It can even be projectized. They need them for a particular project. Why can't they remain here and we make that available to whoever is desiring, either in the country or outside the country? I think on the long term, we need to begin to think about that. Increase in the demand for IT outsourcing. I won't like to waste our time because our facilitator has mentioned that technical recruitment automation processes, automation services. Then, of course, we mentioned the Great Resignation effect. And then new startup companies seeking outsourcing services. Just like Mr. Soji mentioned, we also have we have been privileged to also be servicing a few foreign companies that don't want to be asset heavy in the country, and they approached us, and we are servicing them. Now, I would like to talk to that a bit. It's important. Some of us have done a bit in the outsourcing space in Nigeria. If I'm counting now, I should be clocking about 20 years by next year. So I'm passionate about in this industry. I'm passionate about the reputation we all put out there. You will not have foreign businesses come to you if you have not been forthright in your dealings. And I think we need to start talking about this. They check the books, they check your reputation. They go to their embassies to do a background check on you. I remember when this France president came to Nigeria about a couple of years ago, and Emmanuel Macron came to Nigeria. I remember that we got a phone call and then followed by an email that our company was selected as one of the companies that they would like to meet, their business entourage would like to meet and discuss possible. And I was wondering, where on earth did you hear about us? What do you know about us? And the man laughed and said, yes, their embassy do some kind of background check and provide information. The same with USAID. You'll be surprised the kind of dossier they have on Nigerian companies. I was privileged to see one of those documents some time ago. Very big, voluminous documents. They do all of these things. So please, if you have not been paying payee, or you have been playing around with it, if you have been playing around with staff pension, please know that you are not doing yourself a whole lot of good, because your reputation is at stake, and it will determine how much you are able to take advantage of tomorrow. So in summary, I would like to say, let's begin to prepare for the next threat, major threat. Let's diversify. Mr. Soji again said he sees himself as a businessman, as an entrepreneur, and investing in several other things. I started that journey about 10 years ago. Today, I'm a group MD with interest in health, with interest in IT, with interest in HR outsourcing as it is, and a lot of other areas. That is the way to go. Let's get ourselves prepared. Also, when he says you should be able to call the bluff for some clients at times, is because you have other things that are bringing income. You are not that desperate anymore. It's because you have other areas. So please let us focus on preparation. Let us focus on upskilling our employees. If you refuse to train your staff, you will pay for it. You pay dearly for it at some point. So let's continue to upskill. There are new trends. There are new requirements out there. Digitalization requires that your people are able to work remotely, work digitally, and all of that. So let's continue to train our people, prepare for the next big thing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, good morning once again. The main thing I would like to say at this stage is, as a practitioner, as a professional, we need to start thinking about data currency. We need to look at how to structure our data, because one way or the other, we generate data regularly. And data currency is the monetary value you assign to your data. And in such a way that even when you are to do some certain transactions, it might be used as an exchange. So we need to pay attention to data currency, structure your data, the way you are generating data, structure it, keep it in such a way that it can be used in futures for exchange of value. And that will also take me back to cybersecurity. You know, when you are trying to put up your data and the data is getting robust, it's getting huge, you can be struck with a ransomware in such a way that the whole data can be encrypted and people can now be demanding for ransom. So most of the time, people look at it, organizations look at it that, oh, cybersecurity is expensive, and that's the reason why. My usual advice to such kind of organization is train your staff first, because the last point of defense is human being, is the employee. So when you train your staff about cybersecurity, it helps you to reduce your exposure to cyber attack. And with that, you can be able to, they will be able to know what to click and what not to click in a phishing email. So with that, there are so many platforms today, you know, that help you to do that. Even though you have high employee turnover, you can still be able to do that. You can still be able to achieve it. Some of these platforms, the generic name for them is called Automated Awareness Security Platform. So with Automated Awareness Security Platform, you'll be able to train your employee to be able to defend the assets. In this case, the asset that we are talking about in this case is your data. So that when this asset is being defended and at the right time, you will be able to generate some financial gain from that data. So I think that's what I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Brad, you've answered some of the questions I had written earlier before coming on. But before we open it to the House, for those who have questions, I have a couple of things I'd like to throw more light on. In a lot of workplaces today, we find we have different generations. I know it was alluded to earlier in the morning, but with remote work and different styles of work and different orientations in our workforce, how do you manage a workplace, a remote workplace that has these different generations at play? Does anybody, would anybody like to start?
I think for us at Wycliffe, we went back to work, and sometimes we do flexi work. For instance, if there's a lot of traffic or we hear information about something, so we work from home. But we need to understand that the millennials we have now, we somehow have to keep them engaged. I'm not one for full remote work because I feel that it takes away from team building. It takes away from generating a lot of ideas together. So I'll believe that we have to do a hybrid rather than a full remote work. In dealing with millennials, what we've been able to do at Wycliffe is to put them in projects. I believe we have about 10 at the head office right now, or slightly more. What we try to do is to fully engage them and not say, oh, because they are young, they're not so experienced. But the truth is they are more brilliant than us, let's face it. They are brilliant, they are very intelligent, they are very outspoken, they break boundaries, they are not hierarchical as most of us are. So they work better in very flat structures. So when you have that, they are able to bring out the best. And so what we've done is to give them even projects outside the office. Right now, we've told them to go and work with schools, develop a workflow process for a school, or start a competition for a school in a way that they can recognize teamwork, in a way that they can recognize leadership, in a way that they can generate ideas. Okay, so working with millennials, I think, is the most brilliant idea, and we have to be sure to engage them at every point in time. And in other words, in order to engage them, we have to build our workforce because we can't give what we don't have. So there has to be a lot of training, even on the part of the seniors, on how to manage and deal with the millennials. It's a new game in town, and they will always be part of our organizations, whether we like that or not.
Okay. For me, in addition to everything Nireti said, I think now we're talking about the generation Z. It was Y at some point. Now Z, I don't know what is going to come next. So for me, I think it's a rat race, trying to adapt to every generation. So to make remote work happen for either generation, everybody is faced with the same traffic issues. Everybody is faced with the same security challenges and what have you. I think it's a kind of journey. We need to get our work to a level that they are measurable in a way that we focus more on deliverables, that as opposed to the old system of making sure that the person is there with you. You are measuring efforts. This day, for remote work to be sensible, to be effective, we just need to focus on how we measure work. And that's what I've told my people. So they've come to, during the pandemic, immediately after the pandemic, of course, all of us had to do some kind of flexi working and all of that. But to make it more structured now, I've told them, managers, your people are demanding for flexi work, fine. I will allow it to happen, and don't be surprised. Some SBUs may attain it, achieve it faster than others, depending on how quickly the manager is able to turn around and restructure how they measure your work. Restructure your work in a way that either your staff is with you in the office or not, you are able to measure deliverables. It is about projects. It's about what is the person expected to turn in at the end of the day. If he lies, let him do it from the market. If he lies, let him do it from the church. It wouldn't matter as long as there are measurable results. And that's the journey we are on at the moment.
I'd like to take it from where Peter stopped. First, a caveat. Each business has to do what works for it. It's extremely dangerous to do because company A, I just told you a company, they only go to the office twice in a month. I can't do that. So it's each company to find what works for it. And if you remember, Elon Musk recently put up a notice to his staff. In this place, there's no flexi work. If you have a problem with it, leave. So you decide what works for you. While there are pros and benefits, sometimes we over-pamper this gen that. There's the pros, but there are cons. So if it works for you, we have flexi work. Now, all of this also throws up huge opportunities for trainers and app developers to come up with how to manage work offsite. It's a big space that we have very few resources currently. If you can create and craft trainings and things, I bet you will sell. Because many people are confused. It's new to everybody. How do I manage? And how to do it, the way we do it is, first, ours is structured, right? So you take certain number of days in a month, but the exact day is subject to the approval of your line supervisor. And if you're on vacation that same month, for more than 5 days that month, you can't take those flex. So you just work out what works for you. There's no hard and fast rule. And if you choose not to do any flex, no problem. Then go and look for people like us closer to 60 to work for you. You understand it? So, but if you have the youth, you must have some form of flexi work. And like Peter said, the key thing is job profiling. If your job is properly profiled, a lot of appraisal, we growing up, it's just attendance, dress well, it's nice to everybody. And those things are irrelevant now. It's a business, right? So if you do your jobs properly profiled and your KPIs are distinct and measurable, you'll be amazed that the person who may not even want to work in the office at all may be the most productive. So it's not about, okay, a guy is still in the office. Oh, I have to wait until the boss leaves. My staff don't even say good morning or good night. When they need to leave, they go. But end of the month, I'm waiting for them. You understand? Because the measures are specific. And it will show, even you will appraise yourself. So for this era of flex work, again, look for people who can help you with your appraisal system, your job profiling, and be unemotional about it. But we need a mix of that. The youths, what they bring is energy and creativity. You can't take that away. Yeah. Energy and creativity. But the older bring experience. You can't buy that either. And I had a discussion just 2 days ago in another group. The jury is still out there. Most of this celebration, the generators, they are doing great, they are doing this. When did they start? It's a year or 3 years ago. 1 to 5 years is not enough to tell if that their strategy works. Most of them lack experience. Time will show. And if you check statistics currently, a lot of those businesses set up because they're able to attract foreign funding because of their techie and all of this. They get a lot of dollars. But statistics shows currently about 70% of those businesses are dead in the first 2 years because they don't have what it takes to manage people, to manage the tax authorities, to manage the operations, to talk to your people. So we need both, is the point. So you find a way to work. You need the aged, you need the youths. Neither alone in the times we live in will take you there. Thank you.
Yeah. Just in addition to that, the main thing is performance measurement. And depending on the organization where you work, a situation where you're doing a flexible or hybrid or remote, and you are unable to measure performance, or the performance that you are having compared to when you are doing office, when you are working from the office is not as good as the one that you are having doing remote, then it might be a challenge. So most of the time, there are so many tools out there that help you to measure performance for some of these remote work. But the truth about it is that some of these tools, they don't work. They are not good. They are not a good fit for all kind of business. So you may need to find out the one that particularly will work for you so that you can be able to make use of it, because it is what is measured that can easily be improved. So you don't have to wait until the end of the month when his salary is going to be paid before you check the performance. There are some tools that help you to check those performance even on a daily basis so that you can be able to see what is working for you and what is not working for you. Thank you.
Okay, so I just wanted to say that even working from home, recently I traveled and then my cousin was saying that she had been looking for a job, a WFH job, work from home jobs. And right now it's very scarce. A lot of people are back to the office, just like what he said. People are going back to the office because they found out that even the tools in measuring work from home has not been proven to even be adequate to be able to appraise, working from home. So again, I'm not against that. And like someone said here, it depends on the sector where you work. There's some jobs that you cannot afford to work in the office. For instance, in White Cleon, we had been ready before COVID. 2 years before COVID, we could work from home because we automated all our processes. All our files are digitized, but we did not work from home. So by the time COVID came, of course, we were forced to work from home, and it was a free one for us because we had, been ready like almost 2 years before. So while we're saying that work from home may not be it now, I also have a lot of millennials who work in IT firms and they've not been in the office this year. But I asked myself, is it just about IT? Is it IT we learn in the office? There's several things we learn in our organizations: team building, leadership, all those things you don't get by sitting at home and working by yourself. So again, we have to look at what works and profile the jobs that we have, just like the speakers have said. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So So it's clear that we have to strike a balance when it comes to remote working. There's also the fallout of COVID was that we learned that people matter. So seeing someone that cares about you, that thinks about your challenges matter. Because a lot of mental health issues arose out of people living on their own who didn't have a personal connection or physical connection with anybody else. I even hear that some retail stores abroad have doubled sales recently because people are now buying new clothes. You know, for 2 years, people didn't buy clothes because they were home. Now, retail stores have are seeing an uptick in their sales because people are now buying clothes because they're happy to go back to the offices. And that brings me to the question on employee assistance programs. One of the major threats to longevity of work and organizations is the mental health of our people. How, as outsourcing organizations, can we handle the mental health issues of our staff, especially when they don't work in our own offices, when they go to other cultures and mix in those other cultures? How are we able to balance, or how do you suggest that we balance taking care of the mindsets and the health of the mental health of our people, seeing that they are placed in other organizations? Are there any key things we should look out for?
Yeah, so, oh, sorry.
We can start, this flow seems to work quite well, so okay, we'll stick with it.
They put it together, so that's fine. Okay, so I believe everything is interest. Interest in our people, interest in our colleagues, and how they live day to day. It's really important. What we did in Wycliffe was, first of all, to set up a counseling unit, and then we got consultants. We got health consultants who came in to speak with them. So the use of Teams and Zoom has actually worked. And so we actually put people in different regions, and then we have regional executives. And so we have town hall meetings, and at those meetings, we call in the experts, either financial experts, psychiatrists, psychologists who would work on the various aspects of wellness. So again, that has really worked. And then you see a lot of them who open up and tell you issues that they have. And then we also are holding our HMOs accountable for their treatments. And so we have HMO representatives in the head office who oversees, the HMO. And so if anyone coughs and it's not taken care of, they know there are consequences, to that. So again, we just have to pay, detailed attention to our people. I believe it's interest that drives that, because a lot of organizations will say, oh, it's going to cost more to do that. Yes, it's going to cost more, but it's an investment in people. So what we say is that your life must be better than how you came to Wycliffe. So by the time you're leaving, it has to be better, it has to be more balanced. And in doing that, it means that you have to invest in people. So again, those are some of the things that, that we've done. And then I believe that communication is also very key. It's very important. So we don't wait until we have meetings. So sometimes on a weekly basis, we are churning in materials to them to read on health matters, either stress management, high blood pressure, and again, things that work in the office. So we send to them every week so that at least they can have something to read, and then we call in. It's important that we call in at least on a weekly basis. Each of the regional executives call at least minimum of 50, minimum of 50. So how are they doing? How it's work? Because it's important. There has to be a lot of collaboration going on. And then we need to believe that if we send them in to Maiduguri to work and we are not in contact with them, they're not going to do that job for you, or they won't do it as much as they should do. But when you have contact and people know you care a lot about them, they go the extra mile to do the job. So it's important, Thank you.
My experience has been that the outsourcing business or any business operates from the larger Nigerian environment. So we generally we're very hesitant to admit or express that we have those needs, it's still assumed that you are going mad when somebody really needs to be helped. So people generally say that. Now, for the outsourced staff, because you specifically mentioned outsourced staff, the reality is we also do some or most of what Niriti has said, but I honestly don't think it is working. And it's not working because the people concerned do not even admit or recognize that they have that need. So if you take the emails, for example, even core staff, I don't know how it is in your own organization, but I can bet you 50% don't even read the email. Not to talk about outsourced staff. Do they even have data to read the email that you, some don't even have the phone that can receive email. Because we're talking about outsourced staff who we all know, general salary, 40,000, 50,000. So that's a frustration. So my appeal, at least through whatever medium we can push it out, including those of us here, is that everybody just has to be selfish for themselves. So we keep on preaching it to watch over yourself. You heard the president of the association mentioning earlier, the chairman of the planning committee for this event, right? Suddenly was hospitalized 2 days ago. I mean, how can somebody plan all of this for 6-7 months, but he's in hospital right now? So you have to be selfish to yourself and not all this survival money mode. And last I'll say about that is outsourcing job is not contract staffing, but it's not a career. Because that's where the major problem is. And we repeatedly tell them this, that we were just 16 years old now. I have outsourced staff who have been with me for 15 years. And I tell them this job is a 3-year, max 4-year job. Because your salary won't change until the client increases salary. So can you do the same job on same salary for 5 years, 7, 8, 10? And they are getting married, they're having children. I don't understand. So, and it's not, and that's part of why we do a lot of capacity building. That it's not as complicated as you think. Those 3-4 years, beef up your CV, then get other jobs or go and start a business. It's not that complicated. So that's why even those that have regular jobs, there's depression, there's me, MD, sometimes I have those moods. So how won't an outsourced staff have it? So let's face the reality. We keep on preaching, keep on providing the opportunities, but be selfish to yourself. It's very important.
I think it's about, I think the responsibility of the employer is about awareness, making the staff aware. And of course, the second part of that is putting healthcare, making sure healthcare is available when it's required. For us, we identified mental health as an issue, just like insecurity also. And what we do is on quarterly basis, we bring these hot topics into a seminar kind of arrangement over Zoom, and we invite all our staff. So I think sometime this year, either this year or late last year, we did something on mental health already. And then we keep sending stuff out to them, just like everybody have said. And of course, the HMO is also on the side to make sure that we are able to attend to issues as they arise. However, I beg to differ with my colleague on the brevity, so-called, expected of an outsourcing arrangement. I'm of the school of thought that business process outsourcing is supposed to be an industry on its own, wherein people can actually develop a career. One of the issues we've had is the fact that there's nothing to look forward to. There's nothing to look up to. You're just there. You earn salary on a monthly basis with minimal increase, probably to take care of inflation on a yearly basis, and there's nothing more. I believe that this narrative should change. I believe, just like in other clients, you can actually come into the outsourcing space and have a career that spans about 15 to 20 years. And then rather than focusing on salaries, we are able to focus on competencies We are able to focus on proficiencies, and we're able to graduate people from probably the elementary level, which is associate level, to something like an expert, to something like a leader, a manager, that spans over a period. So there is always something to look forward to based on your capacity, based on your proficiencies, based on your track record. You can move from one level of competency to another. So I look forward to an outsourcing industry in Nigeria where we don't encourage people to look for something else outside outsourcing anymore, but they're actually able to develop a career right in outsourcing. Thank you.
Honestly, I like your zeal about that. Nothing wrong. But who pays for it? That's what we ask. Because those that are already in our system, like SOJ said, the clients are not paying. They've been in a system for 4 or 5 years. There is no increment in salaries. And guess what? We go to the same markets, don't we? And their children go to school. And still they have children based on that. So again, it might be a great model that you're proposing, or who pays for it? So until we have a paradigm shift and organizations begin to look at outsourcing as part of their responsibility, then it might be better. But these days, even the risk, they're beginning to move the risk outsourcing companies right now. And then I'm thinking, so who takes what? Because they're beginning to share risk. And that's one of the things that COVID has brought. But one of the things we are able to do to alleviate the issues of our staff is to create projects that will help them. For instance, we have an asset acquisition process where they can buy things ahead and then we pay on their behalf and then they repay the organization. So we've had that now for almost 2 years. You can imagine the number is growing every day, because their monies don't take them home and they need to buy fridges, they need to buy TVs, they need to buy those little things that we have in our homes that will at least put them in some comfort, but they can't buy that with their salaries. So what do? So you buy and then we pay on your behalf and then you pay over time. And so we see lots of them, hundreds of them who are beginning to do that now. And then we have a cooperative society where we engage them and encourage them to save. We've had that now for about 8-9 years. And so they save, and some are building small homes, little bungalows, from that, and that's what I say, okay, so when you do that, and they are happy because they know they're getting something from this based on the processes you have laid down. So again, I think the support that they need is not only wellness, it's also financially. So we have to find a way to bridge that gap. And I think there can be a lot of collaboration, in doing that as well. Thank you.
I mean, speaking to that, it throws up something you mentioned earlier, future-proofing your contract.
Absolutely.
So I'd like you to throw more light on that, especially coming from the perspective that we've alluded to earlier, that really, is this a partnership or is it a servant-principal relationship? So how do we future-proof our contracts with our principals going forward?
I'm believing we can do that in 2 ways. Not that I've seen it happen here, but it's something we would like to propose at White Cleon. So you have a lot of, and it depends, it also depends on capacity and on competence. So we have a lot of companies who have like 3, 4, 5, 10 outsourcing companies. And so we are saying, okay, so if you increase the number from, say, maybe 1,000 to 2,000, and we reduce the service charge and we increase our services in what form, okay? Or we can collaborate with another outsourcing company to say, look, let's take over this company. And we're able to share our risk. We're able to, talk to the principal, have discussions with the principal on what we are bringing to the table. And I tell you, when you have the capacity, the competence, and then you have the funds to back it, they're going to listen to you, because organizations are looking for outsourcing or service providers who have the capacity to alleviate a lot of their issues. But the problem we have is that we don't collaborate in Nigeria. We talk about it, but it's all talk, no action. We don't collaborate. I remember 2, 3, 4, many times we've had on these seats talking about collaboration, but we don't ever collaborate because we think someone will lose out. But when we collaborate, we make more money, okay? We invest more in people, and then of course, it comes back to us long term. So future-proof contracts, I believe, can work, especially now that a lot of organizations are looking for capacity, competence. They're looking for companies who have been able to either automate their processes. And that's why I'm talking about, digitizing outsourcing, digitizing, right now. So it goes up a lot of, for instance, we are able to automate a lot of our processes right now in White Cleon, from payroll to appraisal to self-service, all of it. And we even have a mobile app. Our mobile app actually has a guarantors model. And why do we have guarantors model? To bring down the rates of infractions, frauds, and the likes of it, so we can talk to guarantors one-on-one, because they are aware that we are the employers. We don't have guarantors who just know that it's working somewhere. No, this time we're holding them accountable. So it's a check and balance, process where we hold the guarantors also responsible for their words. So a lot is going on in this space right now. We must collaborate. We must learn, and it's a lot of training going on.
Well, I'd say to that we are all part of AOPN. So it's the opportunity for us to take the bull by the horns and basically force ourselves out of the last couple of years to think about business differently. And just before I throw it open to the House, there's one question I'd like to ask. We've been in a flux for 2 years, and we've just been surviving. Are we ready for the next phase? Do you see us moving into a situation where we're now thriving or about to thrive, or we're still striving? So that's a question I'd like you to think about as we take questions from our audience. If you have any questions, I have a lot of questions on your behalf. That's a question. Are we ready for the next level? Is there a next level, or are we still in the struggle? Like they say, a luta continua.
My perspective and experience is, like I started off with earlier, that we're even still here. Means that we're doing a few things right. However, now more than before, people spend only on what they need, not what they want. So we must look into our products and service offerings. What we're offering, are they things that are needed or that people want? So this is not the time for a nice to have. If your product or service offering is not of a need status, so increasingly each business has to identify your USP. What's your unique selling proposition? So you all are in outsourcing, but what's distinct about your own? You're all in health services. What's distinct? Because most of what we all sell are same. So the distinction is what's unique about yours. Secondly, I believe to move to that next level, this more than before is a time to diversify into related needs that the market has, that you have the capacity or competence to do or to quickly get into. I mean, that's why we have gone into providing co-work spaces and training spaces. And in our 16 years, that line of business is about 2-3 years old, but currently accounts for about 40% of our revenue. So you can imagine if we hadn't gone there. And there's no liability. There's no somebody stole money, come and pay us. Well, there are liabilities, but not that kind of money stealing. We've also started a delivery service, because with what has come with e-commerce is everything is being sold online. So we're still in outsourcing, but then we've pivoted into a few other things that are equally bringing revenue with potential for even more revenue. So look at what you do. Don't be emotional about your whatever you need to shut it down, and look at what people need as against what people want. Capacity building, you can't go wrong. So whatever expertise you have as an organization, as individuals, there's a market people need to hear, and they are ready to pay. But you must put yourself out there. So if you are not visible, that's how brands are built. If you're thirsty here, and apart from water, half of us are likely to say, oh, can I have a Coca-Cola? You know, if you want to buy sugar, you'll think of St. Louis. So those things are not just there. So you must position yourself to the market. So is this not the time to be, I am in outsourcing? What is it about your service offering? If you're talking logistics in this country now, who are you likely to call? Dr. Obiora. Because he's always there, everything. But it's an outsourcing, but he's not talking outsourcing, he's talking logistics. Isn't that so? So be known for something is my appeal. Let the outsourcing just be there. This is not the time to just do it. The margins are disappearing.
Are we ready for the next phase? The question for me is, what's the next phase? Do you know what the next phase is? Outsourcing or business itself is not operating in isolation. You have to look at the microeconomy for you to even determine what the next phase is likely to be. Today is becoming increasingly difficult to strategize. The best of strategies before now used to be the one that you are able to put in what-if analysis and you project for like 25 years. But today, and that brings me to something that I thought I would talk about before, government policies. I think is very key, and I think is a big threat to all of us. Thank God some other things came up, but you remember that about a year, 9 months ago, there was a big threat in the National Assembly. I think the time has also come for us as an industry to institutionalize lobbying. Okay, I think we need to identify lobbyists and fund it properly so that we also have strong representation in government quarters, because government policies is a big threat. As of today, if you have a lot of exposure to Forex, you will know how big, how impactful government policies can be to either you yourself or even your business. It's wise now to minimize your exposure to dollar and what have you. So it's important that we recognize policies as a threat and then we respond appropriately by identifying suitable lobbyists, newspapers and all of that, and be ready to fund those as an industry so that our own voice is heard also. You can just wake up and there'll be a policy that will just, and it has happened before anyway. If you were operating in the pension space some years ago, we just woke up some time ago and there was a policy from PenCon that said no outsourced staff in certain roles. And then hundreds of staff had to be returned. So that is the impact of government policies. We need to be aware of it. And then, so that for me is a major thing. Every other thing, yes, they are true, but we need to ride that wave. We need to ride that tide and be sure that we know what is next and that we're able to prepare for what is next. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Distinguished. I was thinking after that wonderful performance, they deserve a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Thank you very much. so many take-homes. One of them, the margins are disappearing. So we'll be happy to take questions. If a question has been asked, don't repeat it. You can write that down if you want. Write the questions down. Or if you want to just quickly say your question. Then, of course, we're trending online, slides.com, online opportunities from both the client's perspective and the providers. So the Englishes must change also.
Let me explain that. Sorry, just a minute. We want to get as many people involved, and as they said, technology is important. So we know you have your own perspective that might align or maybe slightly different. So what we want you to do is log in to ourslides.com/1F6TY, and there are questions that cover the same discussion. So the data would also be shared collectively. So it gives a broader view of what are the risks you're seeing, what are some of the challenges you're seeing, what are some of the opportunities that you're seeing. So it allows us to complement what we've heard from our distinguished speakers with your own experience and perspectives. So thank you very much. So please log in with your phone as long as you have data. Your opinions are valuable.
Just the same way we did it earlier. So the same thing, follow the same routes. Okay.
So
questions?
Do you have any questions right now?
We have questions. Okay. If you have any, let's have it. Sorry, you have one there? Okay.
Okay.
It will be a Nigerian wonder if there are no questions here.
Well, we have an expert panel, and I think
okay.
we've actually covered most of our thoughts and our burning issues. So I'll take it that we would use technology that's been made available to us and continue the discussion online. But just to round up, there are some key takeaways that I want us to keep in mind, well, that I will keep in mind as we leave here today. First of it all is that in thinking about all the generations that work, we have to design our work with measurable outcomes. So it doesn't work for everybody, and your work from home policy should be designed for your own organization, keeping what you need in perspective. But also keep in mind that you must design your KPIs for their outcomes, and that your people matter. Actually, the profit is in your people. And so you must invest in upskilling your people and building super teams that will give you the profit that you're looking for. So upskilling people is critical. An outtake of this is that to take your business to the next level, you could look at diversifying as well. That may be the model you want to pursue, because trying other businesses gives you opportunities to leverage other means of making money. And then collaboration is key. As Mrs. Adebayo pointed out to us, it's time to stop paying lip service, and it's time to start taking action. There's so much we can do if we band together and we put our strength, the strength we have in our numbers before us, especially as Dr. Akinyeju challenged us to engage with government. So if one company goes to engage with government, nothing can happen. But if the might of all of us here goes to engage with government, change will happen. And we shouldn't be emotional. This is the time to think about business as business. We must take business decisions to ensure that we are not disrupted in the next big disruption that comes about. And I'll finish off with an entrepreneur's tip from SOG. He says we should be visible. We should position ourselves to be known for something. We're not just outsourcing companies anymore. We are business entities that have a unique value proposition, and we should always lead with that. And so on that note, I'd like you to please put your hands together for my amazing panel who have helped to clarify for us the post-outsourcing trends, opportunities, and threats as we go into the future. Thank you very much for your time. And thank you to my panel.
Please hold on a little while. The president would like to join you and the board members for a photo session. Thank you very much. President Dr. Obiora Madu, please, a big hand for him as he joins the panelists. The board members also. Underneath, DJ Talents, underneath, something low, something low, something low. Something soft and low underneath. Voices. Thank you very much. If you're cinema, you don't want to attend? All right. We're done outsourcing as English is. We must do the needful. Don't forget slides.com/1F6TY. Opportunities, stress, risk. Put that on. Let's trend it everywhere you go. The president of AOPN will remain whilst we present the plaques, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, if we aided by members of the board, let's see how this flies. Okay. Okay. There's still more. Paparazzi, focus your lens. Zoom in like we did during COVID. We had a lot of lexicons during COVID. You know, one of them was Zoom meetings. Very interesting. Some persons will put up a Zoom meeting and be doing something else. Somebody was sacked because of that. The Zoom was on, the video was on, and the employee and one of the directors were busy doing something else. They were doing something that should be done in the other room. You know it, I don't know it, I'm just a small boy. Thank you very much. Mr. President, you are going. I was thinking you will remain here for the plaque. Okay, you are remaining.
Correct. Yes.
Appreciate so much this keynote which you are giving to us today. You are also known as an ethical outsourcing promoter. So for the assistance you have given us today and the wonderful keynote presentation, we present to you this recognition award. Thank you very, very much. Who's next? Who's next?
My sister, my friend, Mrs. Nireti Adebayo, would like your attention here, please. She's coming up. Please, can we give her a round of applause as she walks up to the stage?
Thank you, Mrs. Nireti Adebayo. Please, can you kill the music? These are the old reliables in AOPN, and they are available anytime we call them. So we thank you so much, Mrs. Nireti Adebayo, and we hope that you will be there any other time we call you. So thank you very much. Who is the next person?
Yes, we'd like to call up my Egbo, SOG. Mr. Soji Oyaoye. I'm sorry, that's...
Mr. Olusoji Oyaoye. He said that if you are following him, you will see what he's doing. But it's very difficult to follow Soji. Soji is so fast. He is so fast. Right now, it's even becoming difficult to get him to come and do anything. So thank you very much for being available today. Thank you for who you are and the things you have been doing. We appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to call up Dr. Kindeji. A round of applause, please, as he walks up to the stage.
Also part of the old reliables. I asked Peter whether he still lives in Nigeria because it doesn't look like he lives with us. Thank you, Peter, for always being there. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah. Yeah, you actually did a good job. I'm a radio boy. So impressed with what Ify did this morning. It felt like being on radio. Please, a big hand for her. That was something to really write on the tables of your heart. Hey, aren't you tired? Hold on a second, DJ, hold on. Aren't you tired? I'm told that we need to stand up and stretch a little. Please, let's stretch a little. Yeah, let's stretch a little. DJ, peace be unto you. Ashake. And from there, you can take me to paradise. Let's stretch a little, at least. You know, if you cannot dance, you can do the, political dance, a little to the right, a little to the left. In between, just be obedient or be articulated or be beatified as you can be. Because I don't belong to any political party. I'm just me. Let's do this. There's a surprise coming up. Only for those who can dance. What a surprise. A big surprise. Peace be unto you. All right. All right. See, we have a surprise under your seat. Take your seat up. Take your seat up. Whatever you find underneath your seat. Where's my seat? Let me see my seat, yo. Anything you find underneath your seat, He said, take home. All right. Underneath your seat, there is something to take home. Wow. I'm a lot here. All right, we'll go to visit the stands. Visit the stands. Afterwards, we have lunch. Visit the stands, network, meet people. Visit the stands. Hey. Thank you, Planning Committee, for committing to the grind. Someone said that any committee that is not committed will commit crime. I think I believe him. This committee is committed, and so they've done so very well. We should sit down. All right, after networking, please let's sit down for 5 minutes. 5 minutes, I beg you, 5 minutes. Quickly, 5 minutes. There is something important that skipped my mind that I need to share with you. It's also a risk factor in the scheme of things. I know that a problem shared is a problem solved. 5 minutes. All the planning committee members, where are you? VLA, thank you so very much for partnering with us. ICS, we love you. God bless you. Workforce, you must go higher. Thank you very much for doing this with AOPN. Okay. I doubt if that is Yoruba or English. It's more worries. Okay, sounded like French. Hold it a second. We want to put a cap on it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm told that the president would like to put a cap on this before we dismiss. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been such a very interesting day indeed. Of course, today being the 6th day of July 2022. So please, if your hands aren't too busy, please jam them together for the president of AOPN. AOPN being the Association of Outsourcing Professionals of Nigeria, Dr. Obiora. Please, a big hand for him. Let's put a cap on it. Thank you.
How was lunch? How was lunch? I'd like to thank everyone for coming, but we cannot leave without saying special thank you to certain people. We are gathered here because of the I love the way that I will call out the names of the companies that have made it possible for us to be here. GLA, Resource Intermediaries Limited, Dex Nova, I'm not seeing the other one. Philips Outsourcing. Workforce. Mate.
I just want to
Johan. White Joel.
I just want to
HR Index. ICS Outsourcing. Strategic Outsourcing. Typix. Can someone help me with this one? SIL. Okay. TWPC. LifeWatch and BCT. I want to, the reason why they need to be recognized so much is that a lot of them, year after year, they keep supporting the Expo. Please give them a big round of applause. I didn't want to say that Ade was indisposed, but Soji said so. You know how it is for someone to plan this kind of event for over 6-7 months, and on the eve of the event, he goes to hospital and remains there until the event is over. So let us all keep remembering him in our prayers so that he gets out of the hospital soon. For the members of the organizing committee, it's a thank you job that is not paid for, but they devoted their time all this while. If you're a member of the organizing committee, please can you just stand up wherever you are? If you're a member of the organizing committee, just stand up where you are. Come out here again, come out here, because when people say, I don't have time, as if to say that there are people who have more than 24 hours a day. These people found time, and as a result of that, please can a rousing clap of thank you for them. So we pray that the time that you used to work on this, that God will also be working in your vineyard. So he will pay you back for all the effort that you are putting. You're giving us a great event that we won't forget in a hurry. The only thing is that the reward for more work is more work. So I hope that if we call you again, that you will answer. So thank you so much. Thank you. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. I thought we did before. Okay, so I think, is there a pastor in the house, or am I forgetting anything? Is there a pastor in the house? Yes. Okay. So I thank all of you, and I wish you journey mercies as you go home. Let us go put the things that we have learned here in practice. And these days, if you don't innovate, you will expire. So thank you very much, and see you about same time next year. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. To take the closing prayer, if you don't mind, can we just rise to pray? And so, Father, we thank you for this great event. Thank you for AOPN 2022. It has indeed been a journey of understanding and knowledge. Father, we thank you for the networking. We thank you for everything. And we thank you for all the people who are partnered to make this program a success. We say, Father, that you bless them continually in Jesus' name. And we commit everything we've learned and the rest of the people. We pray that
Let this expo be one that will benefit our individual companies and the nation at large and the world at large in Jesus' name. We pray as we go now, let us safely return to our various locations in Jesus' name. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.